Hey, everybody. It is, of course, Monday. It's 7 o'clock. And I'm surprised I don't see anybody showing up on the stream. So I don't know if there's some delay or if there was some conflict going on. But I wanted to talk about some things today. There's some good news, bad news, I guess, sort of. Not really. Let me see if this pops up. Yeah, well, now I have some viewers. Okay. David Stepp, Newport News, Boondockers here. Robert Magny, hey Barry, how's retirement treating you? Very good. Well, that's one of the things I was going to talk about. You know, my official retirement. Hey Phil, Jerry Tyler. It says Sammy Lisa Smith, so I don't know if it's, you know, obviously they must share the channel, so I don't know. I'm assuming Sammy, maybe. So, hey Bob, glad you're here. Derek Pro, good morning Barry, how are you? Finally made it. Hello to all you guys from Melbourne, Australia. Cold here and stage 4 lockdown with the corona situation. Oh man, yeah, that's not great, is it? Ron Cook, K-O-C-H, Cook. Glad you're here. Dave Conville. Leonard Gilbreth is here. Jerry Underdahl. I just dropped 60 fastback at the painter this weekend. He loved the rebuilt door hinges you did for me. Awesome. Good. That's glad to hear. That's good to hear, I should say. I'm glad to hear that. So anyway, you know, as I'm moving forward, and I'll catch up with people as we go along. Officially, my last day for work, or my career job, was technically August the 1st. I went in on the 30th, and I turned in my ID, and I turned in my parking decals. I did some walking around, tried to find people that I knew, but a lot of them were already gone. So, unfortunately, Kuwait Fab Shop is here. Cool. Okay. Yeah, she calls me Sammy. My name is Samuel, but I go by Sam. Okay, Sam. Well, Sammy. Instead of me saying Sammy Lisa Smith, I can just say Sammy or Sam. Okay. So anyway, I went into work and turned in my stuff, walked around, tried to find people that I worked with. A lot of them are already gone. They had come in earlier in the week, turned in their stuff, and were already gone. So it was kind of bittersweet. You know, I got to see some people, but I didn't get to see all the people that I wanted to see, unfortunately. No, I did not get any hurricane here. Nothing. We haven't had anything bad. I'm about 25 miles south of Atlanta, so we rarely get. I mean, we do get some storms like that, but nothing really too severe. So we've been lucky, I guess. Anyway, so I walked around, had a couple cups of coffee with the guys that I knew that was in the shop with, and took some pictures of various, equipment and stuff that I worked on and worked with, and hung out till, I don't know, about 11 o'clock. And then I turned in all my stuff and exit stage right. Hey, Andrew, glad you're here. And like I said, it was a, bittersweet kind of thing, because honestly, we had a lot. I'll just tell you, we had 17,000 people retire from my work. That's a lot of people, obviously. I think they had 90,000 employees. So it's not surprising that I didn't get to see some people, but anyway, that's all said and done. So now it's garage time or workshop time, depending on what I'm doing. I talked earlier in one of the broadcasts about or live streams about this door, right? And how so much heat comes through that door. Well, I made a video on my temporary installation process, where I took two 8x11 reflective heavy-duty silver tarps that you can get at Harbor Freight. They're only like $10 a piece. I bought two of those, and I positioned them on the outside of the door with some, eyelets, screw eyes, whatever you call them. So I put 2 of those, and they overlap each other because the door is 16 feet. So there's about probably 7 feet or so of overlap. And I did the video where I put it on the workshop channel. So if you're interested, go see it on Joe Daddy's workshop. Because again, I don't want to tie up this channel with too much of that type of stuff. But remarkably, it made a huge difference. I did some test temperature readings at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. and 20 degrees. It made a 20-degree difference. So I may explore some other options down the road. But at this point, I've got a couple of silver tarps hanging outside the door. And if I need them to come down, it's really simple. I can just unhook them and take it down. I know one of the conflicts I had was using little S-hooks, because those S-hooks, they don't want to hang on. So I had to crimp them down a little bit and hook them. But what I want to use is like snap links. But unfortunately, they charge, $2-3 for a little snap link at the hardware store. But remarkably, and I think I left it outside, I think I showed it previously, that Harbor Freight's selling these little LED lights, and it's a smaller version of this, it's a lot narrower, little light, but it comes with a snap link, and it's 99 cents. 99 cents for the light and the little, So I'm thinking, well, maybe I just go buy a dozen of those little LED lights and do something else with the lights themselves and just get the little snap links. I'll be further ahead. But definitely it made a difference, and a lot of people were watching the video and saying, that's a good idea. It's not like it's permanent, and I could use, various other ideas. They have that stretch material that you can put out in front of the door. I think Robert Adams had mentioned about putting in a lift door like you would get for an aircraft hangar. That was an idea. I don't know how much those cost, but convert this to a straight out lift door, and then you get an awning as well. That might be some other option. But at this point, I have a couple tarps. So, yeah. Well, where did I work, Alex? Well, you can probably guess where I worked. Anybody, major airline in Atlanta. No, I worked for Delta Airlines, 29 years and 2 months. So I was an A&P licensed mechanic with Delta Airlines, and it was a great job. I enjoyed it, all that time. But, times change and you got to move on. So that's what I'm doing. I'm moving forward and trying to make this stuff work here, have group meetings like we're having right now. Yeah, I would, retirement party would be fun. I'm not sure how we'd pull that off. I guess I could fly around and meet everybody. I get flight privileges for life, but standby status. So if you ever flew standby, you know that you sit and wait till there's an open seat. Derek Pro, there's a stick-on thin foam insulation product you can stick on the door. Lots of garage fitting companies use it. Not really expensive. I've looked at that a little bit, and I've seen mixed results because it is, a corrugated type door, and obviously it has to rotate up on the drum up at the top. You can see the drum right there. You could run into some conflict with, enlarging the mass, and you may have to make some adjustments, which I could do that. But I'm not real confident in that stuff staying on the door. I've seen people use it and it gets knocked off, or it doesn't, stay, whatever, and it becomes complicated. But so I have seen that though. Pretty evidently you fit a big block in one of the jets. Yeah. Randall Heath from Mountain Green, Utah. I'm glad you're here. And we have Boondocker. Let's see. Now, how'd you put the screw eyes in? I was just going to suggest an adapter for suspended ceiling eye screws. You can get them in lumber yards. I just used my DeWalt cordless drill, and I used an 11/16 socket. and it took a little bit of stabilizing, but the screw eye slipped into the socket, and I had to get it started. And once I did, it went fine. I probably could have made it a little easier if I had drilled a pilot hole, but I just kind of fought with it a little bit. Boom, went right in. So it worked out really well. And then, like I said, there's little S hooks. I had to collapse the S down a little bit so that it would, because when I was putting one up, I'd have like the next one behind it fall down. So I was up and down, just a little step stool, going up and down a few times, trying to get it all hooked up. But then once it's up in place, it worked fine. But I will look into something with the probably snap links and make it so that it isn't relying on an S hook where the wind could blow it, knock it off. But anyway, let's see. Oh yeah, I did a lot of that in the Navy. Okay. Are you a pilot? No, I'm not a pilot. I've always, I've talked about this a few times before. When I was in the military, I did all kinds of stuff. I was airborne qualified, air assault qualified, jungle training, all kinds of things. And one of the things I wanted to do was re-enlist to be a helicopter pilot. That's what I wanted to do. But at that time, they were downsizing and saying, we don't need you. Sorry. See ya. I said, okay, fine. Well, I got out and I still wanted to do something with helicopters. That was the idea. So I went to school for aircraft maintenance and ended up getting hired in as a mechanic. It kind of, scratched an itch that I had and it worked for 29 plus years. So anyway, I wouldn't mind being a pilot, but I know can be an expensive adventure to get to that point. Hey, Guido's here. He's got a little hand waving. Randall, do you have any thoughts on installing wheelhouse inner and outer sections individually? Or is it better to weld them together and install as a unit? Tooling holes can be matched up prior to welding. Well, I know you're talking about your Cougar, I believe, right? I can't attest to the quality of the Cougar wheelhouses. I do know that I've run into various situations where I've done the wheelhouses on a 65, and I've had to, like on the Mystique Mustang, I actually sectioned the outer to make it fit. The Brooklyn Pony, we used the one-piece housing, fully welded together, and that worked out fine. Now, the Jade Mustang, I put in new outer wheelhouses, but I'd made sure that they fit the quarter panel before I put them in. So if you can go back and look at that video, I made sure they fit in the radius. And if I needed to pull them in a little bit, I could, and get some cross measuring so that when I put them in the car for mock-up, I could be squeezed together if need be to match the radius of the quarter. So that worked out well. I think for your situation, if you are talking about the Cougar, I don't know what to tell you on that for sure, because I don't know, again, the quality of the stampings or anything like that. Typically, if you can, and it's gonna be really difficult to take out one half at a time and like reverse fit the second one, just really difficult. So yes and no. I like the ones that are already welded together because I can trust that for the most part. But I've seen a lot of variance in between an inner and an outer. So I can't say that welding those two together first is going to be accurate. Just put it that way. Now you could do some test fitting. You could test fit the inner to make sure that it's going to fit the trunk pan and the interior opening, and see if that works, and maybe do some assessment from there. So it's really a tough question to answer. David, did you do your jungle training in Panama? I sure did. Yep. JOTC, I think it was JOTC is Jungle Operations Training Center in Fort Sherman, Panama. And that was, I think it was December of '86. pretty sure it was December of '86, because I remember coming home for Christmas and everybody's like, "How'd you get such a tan?" Because we spent a month training down in Panama, and you know what? That's really interesting. I know a lot of people don't get that experience. Obviously, they aren't going to get an opportunity to go outdoors in a jungle environment, but we had quite the experience going in there, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't think about. You grow up in the country somewhere and you're like, it's trees and dirt and whatever. But one of the big things they had in Panama was a thing called black palm. Black palm are these trees that have like little black spikes growing out of them. And it's really called black palm, I think, because a lot of people would go to like slip and fall and go to reach for a tree and pull back all these little black spikes in their hands. So we had to learn to, if you're going to fall, just kind of fall. Don't fight it. And then also, if you see a frog that has really bright colors, don't play with it, because it'll kill you. Basically, yeah, it'll kill you, because the brighter they are, the deadlier they are, from what I gather. Hey, Jack's here. Let's see, 76 Corvette. Hello from Korea. I went to JOTC in '84. I'll give you a bell for that. That was, oh, okay. Oh, wow. So, okay, so you said 85. Oh, okay, well, you still get a bell. David, I was stationed in Panama as a watercraft engineer, worked at the LCMs at Fort Davis Sherman between '86 and '89. Well, we were probably there at the same time then, by the sounds of it. Thank you for your service. Give you a bell for that. Let's see. No matter which part of or what company you choose, they all need the same thing or some work. Yes, that is very true. You get a bell for that. Jerry, if you need interior, TMI is 10 to 12 weeks out. Mustang Plus seems to have better inventory than CJ Pony. Wow. Well, thank you for that, Jerry. That's what I was saying before. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. If you're going to need parts, order them now. Get ahead of that curve. Because even if you have to, if you're longer you wait to order, the longer that delay is going to be, from what I gather. So, Pedro Barbosa, hello from Portugal. What was your biggest car repair challenge? That's a good question, because you've seen the bulk of what I do is here in my garage, the Mustangs and Camaros and whatever. As far as a repair, I would probably lean towards, well, you have to break it down, because I did collision repair. I had a body shop for 7 years, and some of that stuff was really extensive. If you ever have done collision repairs where you've got an impact that takes out the whole side of a car, that's a big job. So I would lean towards those being harder, in a sense, because these Mustangs, they're rusted. Rust is one thing. An impact, that's a whole different thing, because now you're fighting with all the panels that were affected by that impact. So cutting out a rusted panel is, I won't say easy, but it's relatively easy compared to a heavy hit collision job. So like I can look back on a 2006 Chevy 2500 crew cab, big truck, that I had to replace the whole side of the truck, something like that. So that's kind of the thing that would be really challenging. Also, I can look. There was some sort of BMW SUV that got the whole right side wiped out. I mean, you're cutting and fitting, and Anyway, so I would lean towards some of that stuff as far as being difficult. Now, as far as rust repair things, I'd have to really search out my inventory in my mind, because doing like the Jade, the initial torque box stuff, that was a struggle. It was just because it was. But otherwise, that's about it. That's about all I can think of. Ronald Bell, I did jungle training in July 75 at JOTC. Well, thank you for your service as well. Leonard, we had trouble with monkeys in the Philippines. Well, yeah. Yeah, I'll bet. So you get a bell for that, Leonard. A little bell. Yeah, but you get a bell. Okay, David. Randall, just placed another Amazon order through your link. You get 2 thumbs up, or you get 2 bells and a thumbs up. So thank you for that. Derek Pro, we're out of parts down here. A 2 to 3 month wait. Yep. That's the thing. That's it's going to be that way for a while. Brian, 1 step ahead and three behind here as usual. Yes, that's the norm anymore. And Robert Adams checking in. Evening Berry, painting all the odd parts I primed this morning. Good to hear. Now, as I was saying earlier, I am retired, but there's some, well, hold on. I need coffee. I titled this one Good News, Bad News. And the good news is I'm retired. Okay. And the bad news is kind of minor. It's nothing serious. But this is I went out for a run this morning. I mentioned before, I try to run 2 to 3 times a week. And, various distances, 2 to 4 miles, typically. And this morning, I went out for a run. It was overcast. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. I can finally get out, and it's August, so it's hot. So I got up at like 6:30, headed off to the park, and went for a run. And I haven't run in like 8 days because of various things going on. I had some soreness in one of my legs, and I thought, I'm just gonna be casual and do my run, keep my pace. And I was running great. I was feeling good, and my mind, I initially wanted to do like a 5K. I was gonna do 3.1 miles. And then I thought about it a little bit. I said, maybe I shouldn't do that right now because I haven't run, in about 8 days. So I don't want to push it. Okay. Dummy me mentality. I decide I'm going to just finish out at 2.5 miles. Fine. So I'm running. Well, the park is separated by, it's a soccer field and softball fields. So on one side is, soccer, and the other side's whatever, softball, and then there's a football field, stuff like that. Well, in between them, there's some sort of a waterway. It's not really, it's like stagnant pond, scummy water. So it has like a little bridge that goes between the two. And it's got chain link fence on either side, a nice little bridge in the trees. So I'm running, and I decide, okay, I'm going to go, back to where my car is. So I'm just running along. Well, I see some people in front of me, and I see some people coming the other direction. And so I'm calculating in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I just speed up a little bit, I can pass these people right in front of me and avoid the other people, because I didn't want us to all meet at the same time, which is kind of what I was going for, or thinking of. So I start picking up the pace a little bit. I get past those people that were in front of me. I pass the people coming against me on the other side. And just like that, my hamstring. I have never had a hamstring injury in my life. But just that little bit of effort of picking up my pace that much, my hamstring, I don't know if I tore it or what, but let me tell you what, if you don't know how important your hamstring is and how much you rely on your hamstring for everything that you do, you'd be amazed. So it was so bad. It took me, normally if I were running from that point to where my car is, it would be about maybe 30 minutes, for maybe, probably 3. It took me 20 minutes to kind of take these little tiny steps and get to my car. And I got to the car, and I couldn't drive it. I could not extend my leg and push on the gas pedal with my right foot. I'm telling you what, this was pretty brutal this morning. So I had to drive with my left foot and get home, and then I was done. I couldn't do anything. I had several things lined up for today out here in the shop. Forget it. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't hardly walk. And I did the military treatment where I popped a bunch of Advil. It usually fixes everything. But I have a feeling I'm on I don't know how long, but a road to recovery to get this hamstring back into shape. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. But I looked up, like I said, the symptoms and the injuries and all that stuff. And it was textbook. Exactly what I did is what they explained as what happens with a hamstring injury. Oh man. Very frustrating. So, man, I'm hoping, because I like to run. I really do. Because when I go for a run, I can let my mind just I work on problems, like I said before, when I go to sleep, I'll plant some seeds in my head, go to sleep, and usually wake up in the morning with an idea and when I'm running, I'll actually do the same kind of thing. I just think about stuff that's going on and how to, solving problems. So, man, it's rough right now. I'm very much in suffering. Let's see. Okay, so Robert, I just emailed you some photos of the Dodge truck doors. I'm figuring out how to sand curved panels. Good. It's tricky. And again, I've said it before, and I think I mentioned to you as well. You got to know when to stop. That's the biggest thing, is knowing when to stop. And every time you see metal, just stop. Just stop. Pulled my back just tying my shoes in the morning. Well, let me tell you, I got home and I couldn't take my shoe off. Because normally my running shoes, I take care of them. They're not cheap. I would untie and take them, So I walked in the door, and it's my right leg, it hurts. So I put my toe of my shoe, on the back of my other shoe and pulled my left foot out. I tried to do it with my right foot and I about hit the floor because I could not lift that motion. So I had to just kind of, I don't know, untie it and push it off. And it was rough. All right, we got Mike Howell checking in. Sammy, my wife likes I'm hoping that shirt. I'm hoping your wife likes my shirt, not my shirt. I'm hoping, because I like my shirt too. Derek Pro, no way out. A mate thought he'd go for a run one day, unfit, mind you, damaged himself for the muscle, was off for 6 months. Yeah. I've been running, let's see, 7 years. I ran in the military all the time, and then I didn't do anything. And then I started back again at 46, and I've been, I enjoy it. I don't know why. It's weird, but I actually like running. But I got to get this. I got to get fixed. So I need to run. She also said we are getting old. Yep, we're all getting old. Robert, when I was in Germany with 1st Armored Division, 800 milligrams ibuprofen was their cure for everything. It still is. Leonard, disability time at least a week, maybe. Yeah, it's gonna be a while. Motrin for the win. Yes, Rudder or Rudderify. Yeah, man, I'm just telling you, I was so disappointed because I've been running over there for a long time, and I used to, a couple years ago, I learned a lesson, but I didn't learn it or remember it very well today, because I was trying to improve my times a couple years ago. And what that meant was changing my running habits and style. So I read about it or heard about a technique where you would go to a track, like a football track, and walk. I think you would walk the curves and then run fast on the straightaways. Walk the curve, run fast on the straightaways. So I did that for like a couple weeks. And I'm like, oh, okay, I could see this is improving. Well, it ended up, I had plantar fasciitis in both feet because I had changed my running style and technique and was creating different stresses. I had plantar fasciitis in both feet. Let me tell you, that hurts too. So I got over that and I said, I'm not doing any more of that. I'll just stick to I run about a 9:30 pace, and I should just mentally go, I'm staying at 9:30. If there's people in front of me, I'll slow down. Lesson learned. Robert also got the Passion Door Skin in the other day. Good looking panel so far. Well, good. I'll need to see some pictures on that. See how it looks. Pedro Barbosa, what are you working on now? Well, now is still the Brooklyn Pony. I did do what would we call it here? I did it. If I was at work and I worked on something that was from outside the company, we would call it a G job, because it was like jokingly you say it's a government job, but it would be a G job. So like if you were at your regular job and you brought in something to work on that, was not, again, part of your normal job, it would be a G job. So I did a G job last week. I built another deer feeder for a buddy of mine. So that was the latest thing that I've done, and I haven't made the video yet. That's going to go on the Joe Daddy's Workshop channel. But I made a deer feeder out of 1-inch square tubing and a 55-gallon drum, and it turned out. It looks like a barbecue grill, but it's not. It's there you go. So I made this deer feeder. I cut a 55-gallon drum in half and then built a support structure out of 1-inch square tubing. So finished that up, and now he picked it up this afternoon, and it's going to the deer camp this week sometime. Rudderify. The older you get, the more stretching we need to do. Yeah, that's the weird thing too. And I'll point this out. I normally don't stretch at all. I don't stretch at all. I might do just a little bit of minor stretching, but normally I don't stretch at all before I run. This morning, I decided to do some different type of stretching that I've never done before, and I think that may have also led to this problem. So I agree with you, we need to stretch more. However, I introduced a different stretching technique that I'd never done before, and it was actually something with my hamstrings, and I may have just initiated something and said, oh yeah, I'll teach you a lesson making me stretch like that. So yeah. 777 Smitty, it's so hot, I'm sweating just thinking about a run. James Green, are you a fan of rat rods? I am. Maybe you didn't see my 55 Chevy. You have to look up my 55 Chevy that I had, the video. It's on the channel, 55 Chevy rat rod. So yeah, I do like rat rods. Randall Heath, last year my neighbor tore his hamstring on his first ski run in his brand new boat. Recovery for him was months. That doesn't sound good at all. That doesn't sound good at all. Finish off the coffee. That's what I'm teaching my grandson now. When he takes a drink, he's 1 year old. 1 years old. He's a 1 year old. So when he takes a drink, I have him going sip. You got to enjoy the moment, right? So anyway, Leonard Bingo. Okay. Andrew, my running instructor in college, played professional soccer and claimed he never stretched before a game or practice. I really didn't either. I thought today I did some stretching. Actually, I did some kicks. Kind of stretched my leg forward as I was walking, kind of like a high step kick. And I was like, well, maybe this isn't such a good idea. And then of course it triggered my problem. Coffee will mend it. Yes. Asa Makowski. That's an interesting combination of names there. Asa Makowski. Sounds like a recipe for disaster. LOL. Yeah. Asa Makowski. Yeah, Makowski sounds like a Pennsylvania name. It really does. So you must be, your family must be from Pennsylvania, Ohio, that sort of area. That sounds like a lot of people I grew up with. Makowski. But Asa, that's different. Okay, so Robert sent me some pics. Rick Stevenson checking in. Hey, gang. Let's see. Derek Pro, some stronger coffee will fix it. Yeah. Clark Gifford, since you have all that 2x3 tube, maybe you should consider making a tea bucket rat rod frame. I don't have any 2x3 tube. I'll take some though. No, I don't have any of that. I've got some 1-inch square tubing, but don't have any of the 2x3 tube. Rutterfire, Clark Gifford, or some crutches. Yeah. Yeah. Harvey's checking in. Harvey saw my video on the garage tarp door, and he was considering doing something like that with his shop. So, okay, so yeah, Robert sent me. This is Robert Magny sent me some pictures of his Dodge truck project. Initially, Robert Adams has sent me some pictures. Very nice quarter panel and doors. That's looking good. That's looking good. You know, you could get on the stream if you wanted to and show us what you're doing. That could be interesting. Haven't had too many people on here lately. I know there's one gentleman from Australia who it was Derek. I don't remember his last name. Derek had talked about being on here, and had some confusion with the time, so it may be on Thursday that we can get Derek. Oh, don't push on that leg. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh man. Ow. Oh, Robert, I'll fly out and help you build a hangar door for the shop. You know, that would be awesome. I actually went online today. I was looking at the doors, and I'm looking at the rigging and all that stuff, and I'm thinking, you know what? I could make a door out of square tubing. You know, I could probably make something out of 1-inch square tubing, or maybe 2x3. I don't know, something. But anyway, I was thinking, because they don't sell doors that small. This is 8x16, and I didn't see that they sold them. Maybe you could order them that way. I don't know, but I guess I would need a good materialist, because I'm not afraid to weld stuff together. It just would be the hydraulics. You know, if you want the thing to swing out, I'm gonna have to come up with some sort of hydraulics. Asa, thanks. I was named after a king, King Asa. I believe he's known for being a healer. Makowski is my dad's super Polish last name. Was it Makowski they used in that animated movie? What was it? Where the Monsters Inc. Wasn't there a Makowski? Something like that. Markowski? Something like that. I think that was the egg-shaped guy with the one eye. I think. Okay, yeah, Derek. Okay, so Derek, you could be on here if you want to be on here. You could be on here. Now I get it. Oh, Robert Adams, my router in the shop died. Okay. Harvey, yes, very hot right now. The silver tarps may block alien radio transmissions too. Yes, very well might. Would anyone be interested in the video for Borgeson conversion? I have a 69 Ranchero and just finished. Should this be similar to the Mustang guys though? They could be. I already have one out there. I did a Borgeson steering box conversion on the 68 Jade Mustang. Pedro Barbosa. Weld question: if you want to weld a panel into a car, do you really need to disconnect the battery, or the ECU just fries off? Well, I would recommend, if you're doing like collision repair, yes, definitely disconnect the battery, especially because, I mean, if you're talking about a newer car with a computer, don't take that chance. But before you do that, big tip, make sure you have the computer, the key code, punch code for the radio. A lot of these new cars, they have it in a glove box where you have to have a 4-digit code to get the radio back up and get it working. So yeah, always disconnect the battery with something that's got a computer in it. Okay, so Randall's looking for a Borgeson steering retro for my 67 Cougar. Well, there is, if you go to the Jade Mustang series, I do the conversion on the 68. It's a Borgeson. And I actually did a conversion along with adding the AC. I modified the AC system from the Vintage Air so that the pump and the bracketry all work together really well. So if you want to see that, go to the Jade Mustang videos. Yeah, Robert, that would be an interesting. I'll send you the dimensions. You can draw up the plans and tell me what we need, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that would probably be really cool. And I haven't researched it very hard. I just, was looking at stuff today. 777, little advice, back up your pictures. My phone broke last week. Lost all my photos. Years of Mustang process gone. Oh man, that's disappointing. A lot of my videos, and of course I have a Joe Daddy's Facebook page. So just about everything that I put on my phone ends up on my Joe Daddy's Facebook page. If I'm doing, work on a Brooklyn Pony, I have an album for that. Mystique, album for that. Whatever. I'll have albums, and all that stuff goes on the Facebook Joe Daddy's page. So if you need any references like that, you can go to that page and look through all my photos. Armando Martinez, sorry. Favorite type, coffee or brewing style? I got into using a Chemex. Takes longer, but gives a nice and smooth cup. I don't know what a Chemex is. Currently, we use just I don't know what it's called. It's like a combination pot. You can do a single cup thing on the right, or you can do a pot on the left. I buy my own coffee. I can't think of the name. It's some weird name at the grocery store. Starts with an M. I don't know. It's a long group of names, some sort of Guatemalan coffee or something. And I grind it, and then I just put in that little thing. It also doubles as a K-cup. You could put one of those in if you wanted, but that's all I do. Nothing fancy. I was started drinking coffee when I was in the military, so honestly, I can drink 2-day-old coffee that's chewy. But I do enjoy a good dark roast cup of coffee. I'll say that. Easy does it. Yes. Asa. Yeah, I get that from my buddies. I think his name was Mike Wazowski. Well, it's pretty close. Wazowski, Makowski, Kaminsky. And there's, like I said, I know a lot of people that had ski at the end of their name. Lewandowski, just all kinds of people from that, because Pennsylvania, that's pretty much all that's there. King's Custom is checking in. Yeah, sorry to hear that. I agree. That is a rough situation. Let me see if I can find. Where's he at? I have to do a quick search on my email. I don't know if Derek wants to be on or not, but if he does, I will send him a link, and we'll go from there. So you have a link on the way, Derek, if you want to join. Leonard, Folgers for over 60 years. Yeah. Well, I never drank coffee as a kid or teenager, but when I went in the army and we started having coffee, um, you know, not that it's the best coffee at all. And then we had coffee in the MREs, so it was like dehydrated. And let me tell you, you want to get up and get moving. You would just take that packet of dried coffee, and you might put it in something else like cocoa or something like that. But several times we would just take that dry pack of coffee and shake it into our mouth, take a big swig of canteen water and swirl it around and give you some quick energy. Asa, I'm about to buy my first car from a guy whose last name has a ski at the end, from one Polish brother to another. Yep. There's lots of them. Luszkowski, that was another one. And then he had other names like Zabronchik. We had a family named Zabronchik, and they were all big football players. So you have to have a name like that to be a really big football player. I'm doing good, King's Custom. Why haven't you been watching the videos? I need you to watch the videos from start to finish with all the ads and times and thumbs up and all that cool stuff. I need you to do that, like every day. Every day helps. So we'll see if Derek wants to get on or not. He might be doing something else at the moment. Oh, there he is. Qantas recently retired some planes which are parked up just out of LA. Maybe grab one of those and turn into a workshop as a tribute to your aviation career. That would be great. That would be great if I had a place to put it and if I had a way to get it here or get it onto a piece of property. Unfortunately, neither one is possible. So good idea, though. I've seen people turn them into like houses because, they'll last forever. Aluminum bodies aren't going to rot apart. Yep. That's how you get wired, man. Yep. Just instant coffee. Go. Okay. Robert, my grandmother's name was Fargashowski. Don't know how to spell it. She came over on a boat from Czechoslovakia. Yep. My grandmother was from Czechoslovakia as well. And her last name was Caustic. Kind of like, caustic. But not spelled like caustic soda or anything like that. That's all right, King's Custom. That's okay. The views are doing okay. With all this virus junk going on, I try to monitor what's going on with the views and counts and times, and sometimes you get like, oh, is this good or bad? Is this going to work out? But I'm already committed. So I did point out, I think I pointed out in another video that I'm going to be pulling out that steering column that's in the Brooklyn Pony. The shorter, there's two, they sent me another one. It's a longer version. So I'm going to pull that one out and put in the longer version, also retest the headers and stuff like that. Hopefully I can do some of that. Right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up on a ladder or not with my leg the way it is, but I'll figure something out. Leonard, they just parked a Airbus A380 here. Yep. That's a big plane. And they're parking a lot of planes. I know, well, I've said it before with Delta, they parked their entire MD-80, MD-90 fleet. I think they parked all of the 777s. I think they're parking all of the 757s and 737-600, I think. Parking all those planes, taking them out of service, trying to reduce engine types, reduce maintenance They're actually flying more Airbus stuff at the moment, but yeah, that's pretty common. A lot of these are getting put on the ground. Robert, I want a flight deck from an MD-80 to build into a flight simulator. Well, you know what? There's going to be a bunch of those out in the desert, and I doubt they're ever going to be flown again. So you might be able to pick up one of those. You know, of course, you have to be able to haul it. All right, Randall, we'll see you. Thanks for being here. But yeah, I'm sure you could pick up a MD-80 nose, you know, cockpit assembly. Why not? You know, let them chop it off, throw it on a trailer, take it home, and build you a rig. That would be kind of cool. I think for me, if I were going to do one, not that I'm really into that, but I actually like the smaller planes, the not the turboprops, but the smaller jets. I forget what number I would call, but anyway, the smaller jets that hold like two people on either side, and then they have the little, you know, engines in the back. I like that smaller cockpit area. Of course, I can't remember what the names are, but then it never really worked on those. Everything else I worked on was big. What are they going to fly? Well, Leonard, they're going to fly. Let me think here. A330s, I think, is one of them. I can't remember all the Airbus terms. 330, 350. They're going to keep the 737 like 900 series flying. Probably keep some of the 67s flying. But I think the bulk of them will be Airbus stuff. So, but I don't know the specifics on that. Pedro, is coronavirus affecting you job-wise? Well, technically, that's why I've said it, I'm retired now, because this whole coronavirus thing has really put the brakes on the airline industry. And for me, having been with the company almost 30 years, they were offering some incentive package, retirement package for to get as many people out of there as they could. And so they offered me a package and I took it. So technically the coronavirus has affected me to where I'm now here, home all the time now. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm happy about it. I really am. Armando Martinez, I've been buying Archer Farms Organic Espresso Blend, whole beans, dark roast, and inexpensive, and available at Target. All right. Well, maybe I'll have to give that a look. That's a lot of words. Archer Farms Organic Espresso Blend, whole beans, dark roast. Okay. I may check into that. Leonard, there's a lady down in LA that has the wings from a 747 put in her house. Those are huge. Those wings are like, they're like 100 feet long. I think. On 47, those are monsters. I think the whole plane is like 280 feet long by like 200 and, it's like 280 by 280, something like that. Is it 280? It's huge, whatever it is. There's one on display up by the airport. And I took my son up there and I was like, check this out. And we walked it off and it was like, holy cow. You don't realize just how big a 47 is till you see it in person. Last video you watched a month ago. Oh man, go do some push-ups. You got to do 20 push-ups because you didn't watch the video in a month. Dave Conville. I was just curious. I was always curious. What's the process of commercial pilot to share a mechanical issue? Do they put it in a work order, or do they ever come to the shop and say it makes a noise when I bank left? Actually, there's multiple systems built into the plane. If you're looking at a commercial, level big planes, there's a thing called ICAS, which is Emergency Indicating Crew Alerting System, and it'll flag any kind of flaw that occurs. So if you had a blip in oil pressure, if you had temperature rise on the engine or some whatever variable, landing gear, hydraulics, whatever. They monitor every single thing, and it'll warn the crew, but it'll also, whenever the line maintenance guys, when they bring it, fly it in, they plug in to it, almost like your OBD setup, let's say, not that simple, but they plug into it, and it tells them, it says, at this time in the flight, we had a surge on engine 1, blah blah blah, or we had a hydraulic issue on landing, stuff like that. So that's typically what happens. Now, the pilot can also identify something. So if he's flying the plane and he's like trying to bank or doing something, and he feels a weird sensation or a weird shudder, he may try to replicate that just to see if it was an anomaly or not. And then he may identify it and say, hey, when I did this, blah, 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 and they'll check it out and find out if, because things wear out on planes just like anything else. So you could have a hydraulic system that's low on fluid or leaking fluid or something, or hose that's failing, and they have redundant systems built in so that if there's a problem they can identify it or bypass it and go to the next system. So they're pretty well monitored from internal controls, but it's up to the when it comes in, the guy hooking up to it and going, okay, well, yeah, you're right, this is what happened here, this is what happened there. And then this is another thing that people don't really understand or know, but like if you ever hear, there's a thing called thrust reversers, and I know people have I occasionally have friends who ask me about what a thrust reverser is, and they tend to think that the engine is like spinning backwards, like pushing the plane to slow it down. But the reality is there's a big cone on, if you ever flew on a commercial flight and you see this big, it looks like a clamshell on the back of the engine. Whenever they hit the ground, they trigger it, and the clamshell rotates and basically blocks the exhaust coming out of the engine and diverts it forward. So it comes out below and above the cone around the engine. And what that does, it reverses the direction of flow. And so it creates a pocket of air above and below the wing that is forcing it to slow down. So just in case you wanted to know, that's how a thrust reverser works. So if you ever see that big clamshell on the back of the engine, that's what that does. Because it doesn't, you're not going to reverse that engine, period. But anyway, and then of course the rest of it, like I said, they monitor so many things constantly, and even the tires, tire pressures, all those things get checked and verified, because the plane can't pull over. You're not going to pull over the side of the road and change oil. And there's a lot of redundancy built into where they, even like if they discover a continual flaw, let's say that's like user error of some sort, like there's some sort of conflict with like an oil cap getting put on the right way or tight or whatever, they'll engineer a way to make it or modify things so that you have to put it on and it has to lock in, or you can't like pull your hand out or something. It's not that complicated, but I'm just saying there's a lot of things that are designed to where you have to follow the sequence or you can't complete the task, and a lot of it has to do with what they call a second set of eyes as well. They want everybody backing up everybody else. So it's one thing to trust somebody, but the reality is if somebody does a job and it requires a secondary signature, then the other guy is required to come over there and look at it, verify that the work was done, and sign it off. So there's a lot of double checks and stuff like that. Seb, enjoy your retirement. Stay healthy. Stay busy. Don't make it a job. Have fun. Yeah. Yep. That's the plan. That's the plan. Boondocker just watched the Model A and Carmen Gia videos in the last couple of days. And oh yeah, Snart. Time well spent on all counts. I've thought about deleting that video, but I can't. I just, because it was, it was my first thing goofing around on the internet with YouTube is my Snart video. So, and the whole reason that's there, that video, I'm sure people are going to go, what? Snart? My dad used to do that. He used to do that. He used to make this little Snart character. And I remember that from being a kid. And so when I was playing around with that first video, I was like, I don't know what to put out here. So I'll just do something goofy. And so it's there. But the Carmen Gia, I don't remember much about the Carmen Gia. It may have been just kind of an overview video. And then the Model A, there's, 2 long videos with the rebuilding of the Model A and the story behind that. So if anybody's interested, you want to see the Model A that I restored for my grandfather, you can watch those videos and, maybe learn something about Model A's as well. Terry just checking in. Terry has tuned in. Cool. Glad you're here. 777. So Airbus is taking over the industry. They had just started building them here in full force. I'm telling they're I'm not saying they're taking over the industry, because I think Boeing is going to try to keep making planes, obviously. But they've been working really well with their planes and have had pretty good track record. So, can't argue with it. Don't delete it. It shows some of your personality. Yeah. Yeah. It was just being goofy. So, has anyone got to see the video of that lost 71 Bosch 302 Mustang? I think, what channel was it on? Because I may have seen it. Thanks for the answers. No, I have to ask, prefer Boeing or Airbus? Well, the American in me is going to always say Boeing, because it's an American-owned company. Airbus is, Europe, which is fine. But if you look at it from the overall standpoint of jobs and job security and stuff like that, you want to see, Boeing survive and do its thing. But they make good planes, period. I wish the Dreamliner was working out better. The 787 Dreamliner, the carbon fiber plane that they built. Dreamliner. Yeah, I'd fix 3M. Yeah, I wish the Dreamliner was doing better. Whatever. I haven't kept up with it, but I know they've had all kinds of problems with it. But anyway, okay. Trying to get your camera set up, and I'll try a live stream. Okay. Well, whenever you want, you just click the link, and you'll show up on the bottom of my screen as we go. Well, yeah, Leonard, I didn't know if there was some specific channel that it was on. But I remember hearing something about that car, and I don't know if it was Mustang Connection who had a video on that or not. So, yeah, I'd fix 3M. Yeah, the A380 is gorgeous. Guess the Dreamliner too. Yeah, I wish, like I said, I wish the Dreamliner was doing better. They've had quite a few conflicts with that plane. So, Jerry Tyler got to go. Wife is calling. Dinner. Stay cool. Yep. You too. Thank you for being here, Jerry. Yeah. Dinner sounds good. I've been eating my retirement dinners or retirement lunches, which at this point is peanut butter and jelly. But it doesn't matter. It's just food. It's just food. Just something to keep the belly full. I do know that my wife is making some baked potatoes, though. So when this is over, I will eat some baked potatoes tonight, and see how, I'm sure they'll be just fine. Yeah, that was another thing that I've just recently, I said before about my grandson. He just did turn 1. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get Pedro. What's the story of the flag behind you? That flag, that's my old Army unit, 10th Mountain Division. So I served with them when they reactivated in 1985. If you look up the, if you look up the history of 10th Mountain Division, you'll learn that they fought towards the end of World War II. They were a special ski mountain type unit that helped liberate Italy. So you can look them up. They deactivated them sometime after World War II, and then in the early 80s, they decided they needed another light infantry type of unit. So I was with them when they activated in 85, long time ago. Did you see the C-Series from Bombardier that sold to Airbus? No, I did not. I did not. Roger, the first Dreamliner is sitting at the Pima Air Museum in Tucson, Arizona. I was rather shocked to see it parked in the desert already. Wow. I don't know how long they've been working on it. You know, when they started on the Dreamliner, it feels like it was 10 years ago, and it may have been longer. I don't know. So I don't know if the Dreamliners, if they've given up on them, I don't know. But the first one is parked. That's not good news. I wouldn't think, unless they just decided, you know what, we screwed up enough with this one. Let's modify another one, or modify the design and start again. Maybe that's what they were doing. I don't know. I'd fix. I saw the factory in Seattle and the slice of the hall they had, but I didn't have the chance to fly in a Dreamliner. Yeah, I don't know how many people have flown in a Dreamliner. I mean, I know they were doing flights, but I also had problems. So it's unfortunate, because you would think that our technology today should be sufficient for building these type of aircraft. They're building carbon fiber Formula One cars. All the material they're using has been around for quite some time. And even when I was going to A&P school, I worked on a plane that was like the first composite light airplane that I know of, and it was made by Piper. And if you wanted to look it up, if you looked up Piper PA-29 Papoose, it was made of fiberglass and honeycomb and wood, and that was made sometime in the 60s, sometime in the late 60s. And so they built that thing and flew it, and decided it wasn't practical at that time to make them in for commercial, or for the private sector. So that particular plane, the PA-29, they left it sit out behind their facility for decades. And in that process, whenever they were flying it, they tested it by taking a sledgehammer and smashing in the whole side of the thing to see if it could continue to fly. And it was just a little, small plane, twin seat, side by side seating. It had like a slider canopy on top, and they let it sit, and it was, weathered and beat up and ugly. And they, when I was going to A&P school back in 89, 90, they brought it to the school, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to restore this plane and put it on a museum." So that was my first look at what would be a composite type of airplane, and I got to work on that thing. In fact, I did a bunch of honeycomb fiberglass repairs to it, and I also put it in primer. I got to squeeze the trigger and have it in primer. But that plane is currently at the Piper Museum in Pennsylvania, I believe it is. And anyway, it's just, if you wanted to look something up, it was kind of odd. Just something different. 777, it's like everything now over-engineered. Well, that could be very much the problem as well. Roger, our airline does own some C-Series, now called the A220. I think we were the launch customer for the A220 with Pratt engines. Useless trivia. Well, good. Thank you, Roger. You've kept up with it more than I have. Thomas Yaksich, thank you for your service. My grandpa was a POW for 11 months during World War II and served in General Patton's Third Army. He was my hero. Well, there's a bell for your grandfather. 11 months, man. Any thoughts on solar radiation management, Barry? I'm guessing we won't go there. Solar radiation management. You're talking about my tarps, aren't you? I put in front of my door. They worked. It worked. Yep, Pratt engines are good, especially from a maintenance standpoint. I can tell you, Pratt engines. I'll just give you a scenario. So you've got Pratt primarily as your one engine supplier, and GE is the other, for the most part. Now you've got other companies, that are making engines. But what I always found interesting was when I was doing repair work on engine components and I was doing heat treat and stuff like that, the Pratt manual would tell you, take this thing, throw it in a furnace, heat it up to 1900 degrees, you're done. It's good to go. GE, now of course Rolls-Royce is coming on board too, but GE is like, take this thing and put it in a whole bunch of fixtures and secure it so it can't move, and then put it, do the heat treat on it, and then carefully, do this, do that. So the difference between Pratt and GE is like Pratt is kind of like I'll just use Chevy. Let's say it's an old Chevy engine that you could just slap a set of heads on it and go. And the GE is kind of like, it's more like working on a Mercedes or something, or that you have to be very careful with how you bolt things together. I'm just saying that's the difference between those two companies. And then you have Rolls-Royce. It was like, take this thing, put it in a fixture, put it in this location, attach this, we call them thermocouples for heat treat. Attach the thermocouple at this point, this point, and this point. If any one of those numbers are off by half a degree, the part is scrap. That's how Rolls-Royce does their stuff. So it's like, what? So it's like overkill. Rolls-Royce is like, they're way off the chart as far as being super particular. And even hindsight 6.7 can identify that, because there were parts that we had to machine a part. It had to be a certain temperature in the room while you were machining that part, and just oddball, just crazy stuff that they want to take place. But then we find out that in their home country, or when they do that work at their own place, they don't follow the same standards. It's only when they have it done in another facility they want the standards up there. So it's kind of crazy. Yes, Pratt engines, but I'll give credit to where credit is due. On the old L1011s, we had these RB211 engines, which was basically, it was Rolls. But they were like the most durable engines ever. Just run and run and run and run and run and run and run. So had really good luck with those. It's just me. My dad back in the day used to work for Pratt & Whitney and Sikorsky. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, Roger, don't get me started. Yeah. Brian, not what I was speaking about, Barry. My dad was a machinist for Piper Aircraft here in PA. I'm not sure what you were referring to. Solar radiation management. I'm not sure what you're referring to then. Maybe I'm confused, Brian. Sorry. Your dad was a machinist for Piper Aircraft here in PA. Cool. Well, maybe, I don't know. I forget what state or not state, what city Piper is in, but that museum is up there. I mean, I do know what it is, but I can't bring it to my frontal cortex. Can't think of it at the moment. So anyway, Piper PA-29 Papoose. If you want to look it up, probably get some information. But it was a cool little plane. Maybe what were you at? What were you saying, Brian? Any thoughts on solar radiation management? I guess I guess I'm missing a point. Sorry. Randall, I'm back. Looks like we're having a smoked bear roast for dinner. What? Smoked bear? How'd you do that? Where did you get it? Is bear even in season? Smoked bear roast? Maybe that was in the freezer for a while. As bad as Robert Adams over there making ribs and sending me pictures. Yeah. I will say though, I have had bear. I have had bear meat one time. So Mike, I'll tell you a story about that. I had a friend who worked for the airline, and he would fly around to different states, and him and his dad would do like a month-long hunting, fishing excursion. And so he would come back with a variety of meats. Let's say he had brought back some gator from Florida. I know he had brought I think elk. No, I think it was elk. Some elk or something, and I think some other fish that he had brought, like a steelhead or sturgeon or something. So he brought, and then another friend had done a bear hunt and had shot a black bear. Well, he always wanted a bear for some reason, so he shot a bear. Well, he said, I'm going to be correct and do the right thing and process the meat and eat it because not just going to kill it. Well, this was funny to me because he had a bunch of the meat ground up in like hamburger style, and he had made up patties, brought them to, when we had the body shop, we brought them to the body shop. And I think he, was like the typical onion soup mix powder or whatever, made up these bear burgers. And he hadn't tried them before. So we grilled up all this, like a big plate of bear burgers. So we were having this, meal, and we had I think we had five guys at the shop at that time or something. And anyway, we all made our burger, and the guys started eating it, and they all just like stopped in their tracks. They all just they couldn't eat it. And I'm over there eating mine like, this is delicious. This is really good. And all the rest of them, they could not eat that. And I think it was a mental thing more than a taste. They all said it tasted gamey or it had some sort of weird flavor to it. I thought it tasted great. So I ended up eating bear for 2 days. I ate bear burgers for 2 days. And these guys were all looking at me like I was crazy. And I was like, you know what? I've eaten a lot of different things, and I've eaten, being in the Army and eating that food, and I grew up eating liver. My mom would cook liver and onions. So there's not a lot that I would turn my nose to, I will say that. But I ended up having bear burgers for like 2 full days, and I was more than happy to eat that. So I think it was just a mental thing for these guys. Are like, oh, it tastes gamey or it tastes whatever. No, it tasted good to me. So I ate it. Let's see. Randall, I had most of the bear turned into bacon and have only one package left. Guess I'll have BLTs, bear lettuce, and tomato sandwiches when the tomatoes ripen. Well, that's different. I didn't even know you could. I didn't know you could make it into bacon. I didn't know you could. I don't know how you. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the process is. Seb, liver. That's why you like wild meat. Yeah, I will say. I grew up eating a lot of liver because, we'll just say liver is like the poor man's steak. I'll just say that. We didn't have, with me and my family, we had, my mom and dad and all four of us kids. You couldn't afford to buy ribeyes and stuff like that. So you'd get liver. My mom, like I said, she would fry it up with in a pan with onions. And that was your food. That was your meat. You learned to eat that. So even today, there's a restaurant in our town that serves a variety of foods. They serve Greek food, traditional, American food. They do stir fry. It's a whole bunch of stuff. But I'll go in there and I order beef liver and onions and gravy. And I love every bite of it. I don't know, but you grew up eating something, you kind of just stick with it. Red Squirrel checking in. Try monkey meat. Well, given the chance, I probably would, but I just I doubt I'll have that chance. So I will say though, the gator that we had, I don't know if it wasn't cooked right. It was like kind of gristly feeling. So I didn't really care for that too much. I see you, Derek. Hang on a minute. So SRM is what the planes, oh, okay, to reflect the sunlight. Okay. 777, turtle was good, but a job to clean. I have not tried turtle, but I would probably consider that. I'm getting, okay. Liver gator is better as a sausage. Elk is very good. Okay. All right. So we have Derek. Let me get Derek on here, and he's coming to us from Australia.
G'day, Barry. Finally made it after all these settings on my phone.
Okay, good. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Good. We're a bit chilly down here and in lockdown, as I mentioned before, but we're all surviving. We'll be okay.
Oh, good. I see above your head it says Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a few souvenirs from the last Grand Prix we had here.
Okay.
And it was one of the first ones where, the last ones where Daniel Ricciardo was in the Mercedes Petronas Motorsport group there. So that was a pretty famous one.
Well, good.
Yeah. But,
so are you in your shop right now?
I'm in my shed, and I've got my little project here that I've been talking to you about. I don't know if I can swing this camera around now.
Well, you might just turn it around if you want to show the car. You might just turn it around. So instead of you'd be looking at the back of the camera if you were going to, or back of the phone if you're using your phone.
Maybe I'll go to my camera. These phones are unreal.
Yeah. Yes.
Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the 66.
Nice.
That we're going to keep working on slowly.
Yeah.
And that Ria Valance whole exercise that you described how to do.
Yep.
That came up quite well. Can you see that?
Yes. Very nice.
And I've got the gap on this side. I've got it really good.
Oh, that looks good.
This one here, I've still got to do a bit of trimming like you've described to do. So just got to get that gap right there.
Yeah. I like it.
Apart from that, with the Taiwanese panels, that's what you have to do. So, Yeah, so there you go. But no, but she's a nice little jigger. Just a stocky.
Okay.
All stock as a rock. I'll get it open here. Yeah, so just a stock 289.
Oh, with power brakes though.
Power brakes, yeah, power brakes. Yeah, but just all standard. We'll get her all looking back to concourse again.
Very good.
And this car is actually the Tahoe turquoise, the original colour. So we will, interior's all good.
Very nice.
So we will get her back up to scratch. Yeah, so slowly, it's a project on the go.
I like your terms. Scratch, stocky.
Yeah, that's all the Aussie slang.
Yes.
Yeah, but all good. All good. Yeah. So no, I like everyone's listening. Yeah, you know your skills there are teaching us invaluable things. I mean, I've been working on cars since I was 16, so it's over 30-something years as well, and you never stop learning.
Right.
And yeah, watching people like yourself is just invaluable to us. The little tricks that you learn. Yeah, we can do a bit of welding and we can do panel work and stuff like that, but there's always little tricks that always help.
Exactly.
So it's great. So
exactly.
Thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I'll give you a bell.
No
so
problem.
what are the plans with the car then once it's finished?
Well, it could be a seller. I'm not too sure. I have a friend of mine who's got quite a few of these, and he likes. I'm pretty meticulous on what I do mechanically and stuff. So, like all the underneath of this car is all clean, and I've done all the mechanicals, the suspension and brakes and so forth. So we want to make it nice. I always like the cars to work properly, everything to work the way it should, and original. Like this is all original. I'm not doing any modifications to this one.
Right.
So it will just be a nice, clean Tahoe turquoise with the turquoise interior, stock as a rock, 3-speed manual.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, maybe it might be a keeper, but it might also be something to move on and then move on to another one and start again. So we'll see how we go.
So for you, it sounds like you do more than just Mustangs, maybe. You do other cars?
Yeah, a bit of everything, mostly in the older cars.
Sure.
But yeah, I've done a few Mustangs, done a few 65, 66s, done a 68 GT390, which belongs to a family member, which that car is like absolutely concourse. That was, I don't have to tell you about repairing rust. That car was in the panel shop for over 3 years, starting from top to bottom. That came from Detroit. So obviously had nothing left of it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it was a good car. It's turned out to be a beautiful car, but many dollars later. But yeah, that's things like that are really rewarding. To turn them into something again. So yeah, that's really good.
Where do you get your cars from? Local?
Yeah, they're local. There's a guy here who brings them in. As I mentioned before, with this whole coronavirus thing, it's been very hard for everybody. So we're waiting on stock to arrive, but he brings in good-bodied ones. He doesn't want any rust issues either, because then it makes it hard for him to sell and hard for us to keep going with them.
Sure.
But sourcing good ones, as you know, there's a lot of stuff's dried up in the States now too, trying to find really good ones. So yeah, but they do come locally. And it's funny over here in Australia that the older ones are worth more than the new ones. So it's crazy.
So, and that car is a 65?
66.
So just give me an idea what it would cost, what that car would sell for in Australia. If it was, completely redone.
Completely redone, they're ranging anywhere between 50 up to 80, 90 Australian dollars. Yeah, so it just depends on the quality. What we do find over here, everyone does things like 347 strokers and T5 and 9-inch and
Sure.
Weirwood brakes and all this sorts of stuff. It's people like originality, and
Okay.
I like the originality too. I like it to be the way it was.
Yeah.
And like this car was painted white. They copped a bit of a moment, I think, one day and said, let's paint this car white. So they did. They done a really bad job at it as well.
Okay.
But bringing it back to what it was from the factory is what I plan to do, and make it beautiful again, pretty much. So, and that's where the money is. That's what people want.
Well, see,
They'll pay for it once the work is done, you know. So
right. And I asked that because I have a 65, 289, 3-speed on a floor car.
yeah,
That is very, very, very solid. Now,
okay.
the doors and fenders and hood are not original, but they're
Okay.
really, they were bought before like the quality went downhill. So wherever the guy got the panels from, they're very, very good. So when you say original, are they looking for the actual original panels or just the original car as it would have appeared?
A bit of both.
Okay.
Like this car has got the original panels. I've checked inside where I've seen on your videos, you know, check for the quarters to see if they're original quarters. I think it has had a left passenger side quarter done at one stage, because I can tell by the gaps of the door and stuff like that. And even on the, not the boot lid as such, but yeah, I think mostly the door, where the door jamb is, you can see maybe the quarter was welded fractionally too far in,
Okay.
maybe by 5 mil.
Okay.
But you know, it's nothing that you can't repair. But the guards are all original. It's actually still got serial numbers on it and things like that. The little markings and things which they came out with. So it just needs to be, finessed, I suppose is the word,
Yeah.
to get it right.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're gonna, like the rear Valance obviously is Taiwanese, but you know, people know that they're aftermarket. But as you've mentioned too, I think with the, I'll show you that the rear, hang on, go that way, like the rear panel there.
Yes.
That's a Ford tooling panel.
Yes.
Okay. It's not the one, you know, not the $120 one. This cost me, I think it was about 265 Australian dollars. So it's not cheap.
Wow. Okay.
But like you say, you want it to fit properly, you know, and it's a rear panel. It's quite important.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, you pay for those sorts of things. We've got some really good suppliers here that get good stuff. I mean, you've got all the Scott Drake parts and things like that. But as we were mentioning earlier on your couple of episodes back with your cross member there, you know, I know people here would pay for a product that you've made that fits, not something that you have to spend hours fitting because it just doesn't fit.
Right. Yes.
After you've paid hundreds of dollars to buy it, you know.
Yes. That's
So,
very true. That's the bad part. You spend a lot of money on something and you can't even use it properly or the way they designed it. So
exactly.
Yeah. I've thought about. I have considered the idea of making a reverse jig so that I can make some of these. I've thought about it, but I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. I think with the video that I made, people can, if you can weld, you can make one of these.
That's right.
You know, give you the basic idea and then run from there, and then they can just send me $20 for the knowledge, right?
Oh yeah, a bit more than that. I'll show you something that you'll like here too, just to show you guys I am a Americana fan here, just to show you a bit of a wall here of all the plates. So yeah, I've got my Americana wall there.
Okay. Do you have any Georgia plates?
Any what? Sorry?
Do you have any plates from Georgia? License.
think I might have. Let me have a look there.
He's got a few license plates.
Yeah, the
Colorado.
Texas, California, Colorado, commercial Aloha. No, got Oklahoma. I think that Oklahoma one's actually from the Mustang. That's where the Mustang came from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, I haven't got any of those. But every time I come to the States, I try and update that list there.
Sure. Well,
So,
I don't know where you go. Where do you come to in the States?
Well, we've been to LA. We've done the East Coast mostly, and we go to Hawaii. We try to get to Hawaii every couple of years, and I've got a little stall over there. This man's got a market stall, and he's got all these plates there, and he always has some nice ones there. So yeah, it's interesting to see some. Like I scored an electric vehicle one a few years ago, which was only just recently came off a car, so it was quite new.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's good to get that the old stuff there.
Sure.
It's really good.
Yeah,
But,
I have two plates. I have they're Australia plates.
Yep.
NSW. So
New South Wales. Yeah.
So I have two of those. They're yellow.
Yeah.
And it says the first state on them. So I do have those. But that's the only ones I have. And that's fine. You know, it's part of my collection.
Yeah.
So
Very good.
yeah, I didn't exchange. Somebody else wanted some plates from the States. So I sent him some plates and he sent me some plates. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we actually went into a store one day and they had plates from Australia, from Victoria, from Melbourne and New South Wales and stuff like that. And a lot of the plates there, see, our system over here is plates get handed in when a car gets deregistered, or but over in the States, I think they're a sellable item.
Yep.
Where over here they're not. They get destroyed. So it was funny to find plates over there from over here.
I can tell you that the two plates that I have must have been on a truck.
Yep.
They are all beat up. I mean, they're rough. And so I even had to try to straighten them out some myself, but they're pretty rough. So.
Oh, well, it's good to have. It's good memorabilia.
Sure it is. Yeah,
that's great. All right, Barry, good catching up with you guys, and good to see you. Finally, we caught up, and we'll keep watching. And thanks for all your teaching.
Glad to share.
Enjoy your retirement, mate. Enjoy.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and putting up, and talking about your projects and what's going on over there.
No worries.
Obviously, it's colder there than it is here. I see you have 2 or 3 jackets on. So it must be rather cold where you're at.
Just a little bit, not too bad, but it's cold. Yeah.
If I ever make a trip to Australia, I have to time it out to where it's like spring or fall, right? I don't want to go in the midsummer or the dead of winter. I guess.
No.
So
exactly. You're always welcome, Barry. Good on you.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
I'll speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was cool. I like hearing from people, from other parts of the world. That's awesome. And see what's going on. Let me get caught up on some of the questions over here, or some of the comments. Let's see. Robert, he wants to get a bison brisket, but they only ship them at 5 pounds a piece, and it's $75. I'll pass for now. Okay. Boondocker stepped out onto my deck a couple weeks ago with a cup of coffee at about 5 a.m. I want to see a black bear about 10 feet away looking at me. Okay. Well, I stayed up in a cabin up in North Georgia with some friends, and it's well known that the bears will frequent that part of the cabin or that area. And we did have, I think we had some trash out, and we heard something big getting on the back or the front porch, bunch of noise. We just stayed inside. James Green, can't beat liver mush and Spam biscuits. I don't know if I've had actual liver mush, but I've had Spam. Gator's better as a sausage. Elk is very good. Yeah, the elk was very lean. I'll say that. Very, very lean. Denny Alvey, as my buddy says, I like liver with liver sauce. Okay. Brian, oh, yeah. Roger, they go along with the chemtrails. It's much easier to load the planes with SRM. Okay. Leonard saying soft shell. I don't know if he's talking about the turtles, but I don't know. Thomas, my grandparents didn't have much, but we never went hungry. But my grandma made good depression food. Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of that type of stuff, and I can probably, some of you can probably, if I said halupki or halushki or stuff like that, you might go, oh, that rings a bell. But yeah, there was quite a few things that were unique to Pennsylvania and Ohio in that area, the type of food that we would have. Leonard, my parents were from the Depression. My grandmother taught me how to cook the things that she made, and I'm showing my grandkids how to cook like she taught me. That's very cool. Yep, you got to pass on those type of things. Jorge's checking in. What did I miss? I retired. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I'm retired. Yes, definitely favorite band. Felt like wearing it today. I saw it on the pile of shirts. I said, you know what? I'm going to put on my shirt, my ACDC shirt. Leonard, Derek, wish Ford put the 302 Cleveland in cars here. Oh, okay. He's talking about Derek in Australia. Thomas, my grandma could do so much with little food. I miss her depression food. Yeah. I definitely miss my grandmother's cooking too. Cause I'm in Oklahoma. Motorsports engine retirement looks good on you, buddy. Thank you. I'll give you a bell for that. I know I'm so far it's only been a couple days, but I am enjoying the whole idea. Yep, the world is a much smaller place anymore. Thank you, Dave Britton. I'm going to say Britton. Let's see, Robert. My grandmother made haluki spelling. I can't stand the smell. She made good nut and poppy seed rolls. Nut roll. Oh, man. Nut roll. We only did that at Christmas time for some reason. We only made nut roll at Christmas. Thanksgiving, Christmas, nut roll. I don't know. And poppy seed roll. But you didn't like haluki? Okay. I like it. I still like it. Aussies had a ton of 351 Clevelands. I'll take your word for it because I don't know for sure, but I believe they did. Well, that was cool. Like I said, it was neat having Derek on there. We've had several people from Australia on here before, and I know there's one guy that I haven't talked to in a while. His name is Mike. I don't know. He was building a fastback, and we had talked on the WhatsApp, trying to resolve some issues he had. And I think they may have given up on that car. They found out that it was like really messed up, out of shape. So, Dave, when I get famous, you can call me Dave Brittain. That's a deal. Because they only made 351 Cleveland in the States a few years, but made them in Australia for 10 years. Interesting. Motorsports, come and see us, and the motorsport or the monster trucks this weekend. Where are you? They're doing. You're involved with monster trucks. That's cool. And where are they performing this weekend? You have to give us that. You can't just say come see us without giving us a location. Matt Brooks, is it condescending to ring a bell in a place of business? I feel like just looking at the bell button. No. That's why it's there. That's why it's there. So if you have somebody's not at the desk, that's it. That's why they put it there, right? Hit the bell, draws attention. Motorsports Engine. You're at Sonoya. Really? Who am I talking to? Motorsports Engine. I may have to look you up. There's going to be monster trucks at Sonoya. That's interesting. Sonoya is down the road from me. They've got a small, it used to be a paved oval, and it's now a dirt track. I've mentioned it before. I've really been thinking about going back to the racetrack with a friend of mine who still races. Okay, Alan, that makes sense. When did you become Motorsports Engine? When did that happen? When did you change your logo again? See, you're confusing me. But I didn't know there was going to be monster trucks down there. All right. Anyway, I've talked before about going down to the racetrack. You know, I've said before, me and Roger, we raced at another racetrack a couple years. Then he raced at Lanier Speedway a little bit. But I gave up on it whenever somebody tried to kill me. So I've avoided the racetrack. I've really avoided going to a racetrack since probably 95. I've avoided it because I don't want to get bit. It's easy to get bit and want to get back into it. I really don't want to do that. So I've genuinely been avoiding the racetrack. But now that I'm retired, I mean, I may just have to go. And I really was thinking of doing it to help out if my friend needed help with his car. Now he's been racing for 30 years. He really doesn't need my help, but you never know. I might be able to turn a wrench for him real quick or something and help him get, if he needs something. So I'm still debating on that. Still debating on it. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Alan. But maybe we'll have to see. That's a consideration, though. I will consider it. I'll say that. Because I don't have a full-time job anymore. I will have my weekends off, thankfully. So let's see. Last Cleveland's ended in '82 down under. Yeah. There's something else. You got me thinking about that racetrack. Because you had somebody on there recently. Glenn, you had Glenn on one of your broadcasts, I believe. So Glenn is, if you know Glenn Morris, that's who you had on your broadcast, Alan. So I've known Glenn for a long time. He does all my muffler work, and anyway, so if I go, I'd be helping out Glenn. But we'll see. That might be interesting. But yeah, I've avoided going to the track just for that purpose of not getting back into it. Because I really love driving race cars. Really, really do. Now, if somebody else wanted me to drive for them, that would be different. I might consider that, driving for somebody, but I don't want to have to keep up with one. Just, no, too much effort. Yep, Glenn Morris. Yep. Every day is a weekend when you're retired. Yeah, that's true. And there's been, I have to get it back in my mind. Locally, they do cruise-ins, and I've missed going to the cruise-in. They've had them on, every first and third Saturday of the month, and I would work every Saturday. So now I have to remind myself that there's a cruise-in that I can go to, which is literally 3 miles from me, 2-3 miles from me. And so I have to remind myself that these are there, and now that I can go do them. Or years ago, my wife and I went on I haven't even thought about that. Years ago, my wife and I went on a Model A tour on a weekend, and we drove, to point on a Saturday. We could do that stuff again if we wanted to. The whole world is opening up now. I'm starting to remember and see things that I haven't done in years. Yeah. Jorge, Need for Speed, but speed equals big money. Yes, it does. Leonard, retirement is fun, but keep your hands busy. I will definitely be doing that as soon as I get my leg back working. Red Squirrel, retirement, I wish. Come on, Lotto jackpot. Yeah. Well, the problem with the Lotto is I can't win because I don't play. So maybe I need to make that commitment, right? Go buy a ticket every day and hope that I hit. Derek, just do test and tune days. Lots of fun without the stress of comps. That's true. That's true. I know for us, this little track, whatever they call it, the fastest little whatever, it was paved and they had, a good turnout of people going to this little paved oval. But then they decided to turn it back to dirt. So it is, it's a dirt track now. So anyway, Boondocker, yep. Thanks for checking in. Glad you were here. Yeah, I know. I got to give it some rest. It's really tough. Matt, I don't think SEMA is actually canceled. I know I've been getting emails about it, and they were talking about social distancing, people wearing face shields and stuff like that. So it might be difficult, depending on I want to go again. I can go this year, but it seems kind of, I don't know, it might be kind of a challenge to pull off like interviews and stuff like that, wearing a face mask and trying to interview people. Do the coast to coast Mustang rally. Now that's an idea. I like that. The only difficulty I have with that is we have 2 dogs. Well, cats. I'm not a cat guy, but we got 2 dogs. So I'm not sure if we want to do a coast to coast with the dogs, but that might be interesting. The whole world is starting to open up now. I'm starting to realize there's more out there to do than just go to work on the weekends. That sounds good. Bob, got to keep the body going too. Yes. Well, that's like I said. I try to run 2 to 3 times a week, and today was not the day for me to do something different. But motorsports, the South's baddest bull ring. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't been there. I haven't been to Sonoya in a long time. Long time. I play it, but I will never win, so I will never retire. Yeah. Well, honestly, I didn't think I'd be retired at 53, but thanks to the YouTube channel or channels and things, growing from there, that has given me an opportunity. So I'll point it out. I want to keep everybody on their toes. If you're all right, Leonard, we'll see you. If you're, again, everybody's heard this already, but if you're buying something on Amazon, go through my channel, fill up your cart, go to my YouTube channel, find the link up here in the corner of the banner, click on the link, buy your stuff. I get a little cut of that. Works out really well. Thankfully, that has started to develop into a little bit of something. It's nothing fantastic, but it is something. I've actually had people buying some of the mini splits because they watched my video on those mini splits, and so those are big ticket items. So I get a little bit or percentage, but so anyway. Watch the videos, thumbs up, throw the thumbs up on the videos, all that stuff, help that growth. And I appreciate every one of you that has helped this channel grow over the past several years, and even the other channel, J Daddy's Workshop. If you follow that channel, I thank you for that as well. That's also helping in this process. Every step, keep going, right? Thank you, Danny. And enjoy life. That's the plan. Now, I will say, I was going to mention this earlier. Last week, we watched our grandson for the first time where he spent the night. So we spent time with him, obviously, but he's never spent the night before. He's, it was our son and daughter-in-law's 5-year anniversary, so they were going off somewhere. So we were going to watch him, and hold on. Yep. Does that Danny, anything on Amazon. Doesn't matter what you buy. If you're buying toilet paper, if you're buying, whatever, clothes, anything. It doesn't have to be on my page. The idea is that if you go through my link that's usually up here, my little banner, on the YouTube page, or on any of a lot of my videos have it in the description box. It'll have a YouTube, or a Amazon link. So any one of those, if you go through that, even if you start with that and then you go say, oh wait, I want to search, and you fill up your cart, as long as you went there through my channel or my page, then I get a little percentage. But it's just easier for people typically if they fill up the cart first and then click, pay, boom, you're done. But anyway, we watched our grandson, and again, he hadn't spent the night. So we have a spare bedroom with a crib in it, and a mattress and all this stuff. We set it all up. And my wife said, well, she'll just sleep in the same room with him, which is fine. However, normally we have our dogs. We have a little Chihuahua and a Lab mix. They sleep in our bedroom together, and the Chihuahua sleeps in our bed. Well, she said, you take the dogs to bed and I'll, go to with him. Okay, fine. So I took the dogs in our bedroom, got the Chihuahua situated. And the Chihuahua wanted mom. So he was at the door whimpering. I had to grab him, get up out of bed, put him back in there. And so throughout the night, he kept trying to get out. And then she had to, struggle with him waking up. And so we didn't sleep real good that night. But it was good. It was good to have that experience. We'll continue that as time goes on. So, Bob, work, then play, and then work to pay for playing. Yes. Work, then play, and then work to pay for playing. Exactly right. Dave, congratulations on the retirement. Good night. Thank you, Dave. Have a good night. We'll see you. And we have Matt Brooks. I just subscribed to Joe Daddy's Workshop. 2.16 thousand subscribers. Yes, it's still growing. It's still growing. And there's stuff on there people may find interesting. What my biggest video is replacing the door threshold on this garage door, putting in a door handle, stuff like that, fixing a dune buggy go-kart thing, so it's just random stuff that I don't do on this channel. Anyway, review of chainsaws, weed eaters, whatever. So we're getting close to stop time. It's 1:58, hour 58. And so that's, I don't know if you see that or not. So I'm going to stop this in 2 hours, call it a night. I've got a baked potato waiting for me in the house. So thank you, Matt, for subscribing. I'll give you a bell for that. Appreciate it. And let's see. Red Squirrel, good night. Happy retirement. Thank you. And I'll probably make, I don't know if I should or not. I guess I probably should. Just make a vlog video where I talk to directly to the channel and let everybody know about their whole retirement thing and how that's going to go. So anyway, I think I may do that at some point soon. Where to go? All right, Robert, have a good night. Good night, Dave. Good night, Derek. Glad you were here. Yeah, peg leg. Yeah, that's what it feels like. I'm telling you. Goodmunder, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow, Alan. We'll see how it goes. But, oh, man, thank you all for being here and being along for the conversation and the time. 57 viewers still. That's great. But I have to call it quits. I've got to get this leg, maybe get some ice on it, take some ibuprofen, and get some sleep. Jorge, I will spend 200 to 1,000 Amazon per month. Hope you see it. Yeah, every bit of it. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'll give you 2 bells for that. That's a good numbers. I don't know who's spending the money. I could just show that it just show, people buying stuff and whatever. It doesn't tell me who it is because they're not going to share that information. All right, Harvey, have a good night. Thank you, Jorge. So anyway, again, thanks for being here, and I'll be back on Thursday at 3 p.m. for the European people, so they can come on here. And until then, take care of yourselves. See you.